I like the word perspective, because, if I'm seeing something from a different angle, then in my opinion, from my perspective, it can, add value and cover some holes that people wouldn't otherwise see. So related to that, I have another question for you, Sonali. You broke that down, but for those on the fence about, really supporting youth and providing them with these power building opportunities at the next level, what's the reward for doing this work well?
Okay, so that's a good question. And personally, I saw this quote. I can't remember where or who it was from, but I saw this a few days ago and it really resonated with me. It was that Gen Z and our youth, they're not our future. They are our now. That's a big thing that you always hear. Oh, youth are our future. Like, we need to teach them so they can have these conversations and be in politics, be in Congress, have that say in all these different issues. But my question is, why can't they have that conversation now? They have started to understand what's going on. Like, I feel like that's pretty essential for us all to understand now. And for example, we just had the first Gen Z member of Congress elected a few days ago. Like, that's amazing. But that being said, I feel like having this conversation and having Gen Z in the picture helps you understand who you're serving, especially in areas of power where, first of all, the people you're serving, whether talking about policy or nonprofit or wherever, if there's youth involved, have them in the conversation. That's what I absolutely love about the Youth Mentoring Collaborative and how they have youth board members and things like that. Because when you bring them in the conversation, they understand what they need better than an adult may understand what you need. And so when we always talk about bringing people with unique backgrounds, with unique ideas, who can bring different initiatives to the table, that's us. And so I think you have so many more areas of growth within yourself and your organization when you bring youth conversation to the table.
So, as we close, I have a question for the panelists. So we've heard different perspectives, but as the audience takes some things away, what's some things about what your fellow panelists said that you don't want the audience to miss? In other words, let's start with Justice, then Sonali, then Jalen to close us out. But what have you heard your fellow panelists say, and what do you want us to do with that information next?
Yeah, that's a great question. So something that really stuck out to me that Sonali said was we have to remove those biases. I think that really it comes down to being an important factor in any situation, but especially within this line of work that we're in and what we're trying to accomplish, that really matters. So yeah, I really agreed with that point. And as for what the next steps are and what happens after this, I would say reach out and find out how you can support in any capacity, whether you're within a mentoring organization or you want to donate or what have you. But I think that's really one of the key ways that people can get involved and just support in general. Yep.
I think one thing that really stood out to me personally was Justice's conversation on understanding your why. Because at the end of the day, there's always so many things going on. No matter what area of the mentorship realm you're in, whether a mentee, a mentor, an organization, it's always good to kind of come back to the root of why you're doing what you do. And I know personally that's something that my team has to come back, and even our students have to come back and say, okay, wait, why are we doing what we're doing? And then it really helps create some meaningful conversation around that. That being said, my biggest ask for all of you is not just get involved with an organization that does mentorship work, but really thoughtfully listen to what's going on throughout the rest of the panel we have today, and all the different sessions. And you're going to go and attend all these different conversations. But when you find an area you're passionate about, because I promise you'll find something today, engage with that person or that organization and see how you can get more involved. Like I know personally, our organization is looking for board members. I know Youth Mentoring Collaborative is always looking for different ways that people can get involved, and so many other things. So see how you can really engage with the organizations you meet here today.
Oh my goodness, it's hard to follow these two. But I'll just kind of like just want to uplift just what both of them have already said. Justice mentioned around like for maybe folks that are already kind of doing this work or have an interest in like getting involved, like coming into it and just kind of putting yourself out there, right? Like showing up and being able, like you mentioned, DeLeon, like coming into it with an open perspective, right? Like sometimes we come into things and it's like, hey, this is what I've done and this is what it will always be. But like just being able to be present in the work that you're doing with the people that you're doing it with, and that will yield like a better outcome, in the long run. And then this piece that Sonali mentioned around like those implicit biases and being able to like take those out of yourself, or like this piece of just like, like already dismissing those. And then what I thought was really powerful that for you, like even in this piece of like, even if they were present, like still remaining like focused and being present and like saying, no, like my voice does matter. Like the work that I'm doing is powerful. And, I think it would work out even the better having folks already in that work kind of move that stuff out the way for you, or you can just easily kind of just walk into the calling, the purpose that's like that you're supposed to be like carrying out. So I think in the combination of those, and I guess like my last kind of wrap around is just this piece around like, if you're already doing the work or you have interests on like getting involved, really just coming into it with that open perspective, but prioritizing youth voice in the forefront. Don't like, oh, I want to build this thing up, and then on the back end try to engage young people. Just this piece of like, if you have you wouldn't get to step 10, and then once you're at step 10, oh snap, we're missing some things. Like, oh, I need to run it back to step 1. You know what I mean? Like, why don't you just start at step 1? It would yield a better outcome for what you're trying to build, and not just what you're trying to build, but this piece around like what we're trying to build, what we're trying to like grow and see be present in our communities, right? So, coming into it with that perspective and not being afraid to put yourself out there, to receive different things, to just, lose, and it's not even a loss, but like, sharing a piece of the pie, that power, because it would just yield just something so much greater in the long run, and even presently.
Yes, and just building off of that, if we don't involve youth from the very beginning in an authentic way, we're actually hustling backwards. So, with that in mind, thank you all so much for teaching me today. And if you all took some gems away from this conversation, let's give them a warm round of applause and use our voices to say thank you. All right. Let's see, Alicia. Okay. I think they're looking to get our photo.
Send positive energy for the picture. Thank you so much to our opening plenary speakers. Thank you for kicking off the symposium. Please leave feedback on this session. We would really appreciate it. Anybody that can access Whova through their phone, you can pull up Whova and go to resources and then go to surveys. We're going to make you fill out like 1 million surveys today. So go ahead and get the first one out of the way. This one is called Opening Plenary, Youth Power, Leadership, and Action. Your feedback means a lot to the speakers and to us at Youth Mentoring Collaborative. You should be able to find all of your surveys for all of your sessions today under resources and then surveys. Speaking of next sessions, before we exit this one, let me tell you where you can go next. So we have 3 professional tracks this morning. That is for our conference attendees that are in their mid-20s or later. The first is called Maintaining Equity and Authenticity in Storytelling, which is going to be in this room. So if you're staying for that session, pick a seat. You can just stay in this room. Our second professional track is Preparing Your Organization for Critical Mentoring, which is going to be in Dogwood A. So you can go out these doors, go down the atrium, and it's to your right. Our third professional track is Joy as a Radical Framework for Helping Professionals, which is in Dogwood B, literally right next to Dogwood A. And then for our youth attendees, we have 3 youth track sessions this morning. The first is Youth Accessible Entrepreneurship, Skills, Stories, and Strategies, which is going to be in Mountain Laurel. This one's a little bit harder to find. You might need a map or get a volunteer to help you. You're going to go down this way, down the hallway, through a really fancy lounge with a bunch of tables set up. Then you'll find it. The second youth track session is How to Build Relationships to Achieve Your Dreams, and that's located in Azalea. That's right across from Mountain Laurel. So once you've found either one of those, you've found the other one. The third session is So You Want to Work in the Music Industry. This is going to be the hardest one to find, and it's located in Sunflower. Once you pass Mountain Laurel and Azalea, you'll go through. Sunflower's right there. Best of luck finding these sessions. Also remember that we have 3 prizes to give out at the end of the day. These prizes are awarded to the 3 attendees with the highest Whova participation. So if you didn't download Whova, download it. There's QR codes at the sign-in tables that you can scan. You can earn points by engaging with other attendees, answering surveys, and so on. And then you can also view who is in what place in the Win a Prize tab. There are 10 people that are like in the leaderboard right now. Top 3 have 1, 2, and 3 next to them. Okay, guys, let's shake it off and let's go.